Good evening, folks. Yes, another refugee video. Well, I can't help it. People just keep sending these messages, and some of them are quite strange. First off, from the outset, I told people that you most likely have to be in South Africa in order to apply for this program. The State Department later made that clear. You must be in South Africa in order to be eligible. But that's not fair. I'm a South African. Well, that's too bad. I'm sorry if that hurts your feelings, but we're not giving refuge to the world. We're giving refuge to South Africans in South Africa suffering from unjust racial persecution. If you're in Cambodia or Ireland or Namibia and you're a South African citizen, you're not suffering from unjust racial persecution from the South African government. You may have fled because of it, but you're no longer suffering from it. You're abroad. So I don't understand why that's so difficult for people to understand. And some people say that's unjust. It's not unjust. No one owes anybody anything. This is a gift, and it's a gift for those whose lives are in jeopardy in South Africa. That's the bottom line. If that comes across as harsh and you decide not to watch my program because you don't like the truth, well, there's nothing I can do about that. But I'm going to sit here and lie to you and mislead you like so many other people do. I'm going to tell you the truth. Now, here's another point that has come up. In recent days, there have been a number of people who purported to have been denied, none of whom have provided any written information or any names of any agents or any information that's verifiable in any way whatsoever. Just people claiming they've been denied. Now, I don't doubt that people have been denied refugee status, and I said all along people would be denied. Well, that's right. Yeah, I did say that. And what was the basis for denial? Criminal convictions for serious crimes or derogatory information that makes you unsuitable to be a refugee. For instance, if you remember the AWB and you were at Bophuthatswana in 1994, you probably might be considered to be ineligible for a refugee program. That's the bottom line. Now, many of these messages, people are like, I have no idea why it happened. I don't understand. Only for me, after going through multiple communications and wasting my time back and forth with them, well, I think I know what it might be. Or, well, I was charged with a DUI, but never convicted. I was sent to a course. Okay, so you were drinking under the influence. Whether you're convicted or not, you essentially admitted to it by taking the training. Now, I understand the legal definition of what's going on here. That doesn't mean admission of guilt. But when a refugee is being vetted, when an adjudication process takes place about your merit for being a refugee, your character is part of it. Yeah, I know that seems strange looking at the people in Minneapolis and who we let in this country as refugees. But the bottom line is your character is supposed to be part of this. So a lot of people, well, not a lot, but several people have claimed they've been denied. Again, I have zero evidence anyone's been denied. The only people I know who are not allowed to apply for the program were the two fraudsters who were defrauding people money over this year. When I warned you, you didn't listen to me. People went and gave them their money so you could be put on a list. I don't know why you believe some Afrikaner in South Africa knows something about being put on a list and knows people in the American government that's going to get you over. This getting around the law is part of the problem. Just pay somebody off a little bit of money and you'll get over. No, it doesn't work like that. We have the rule of law here. So those are the only two people I know that have ever been denied. Now, I've had contact from a few people who subsequently told me that they were denied, but they haven't produced a letter. They're obliged to give you a letter. So let's talk about the refugee denial and what happens. There's no formal process. You can't request a review. However, if you are a refugee to the United States and you're outside the U.S. seeking resettlement, you cannot formally appeal, but you can submit one request for review to the Resettlement Support Center within 90 days if they can prove a significant error or present new material information. But in order to do that, you'd have to know the reason why you were denied. So people are telling me they don't know the reason they're denied, but they've been denied. That doesn't make any sense to me. Now, that may be your ground truth, then somebody's screwing up, because how could you possibly put your one opportunity for a request for review in to provide new information, material to your case, or to correct an error that they may have based on erroneous collection of information if you don't know what the denial is for? So, if in fact you've received a letter and you want to appeal it, which doesn't exist, but a request for review, you'll ask them one time to relook at your case. Look, you got a mistake. That isn't true. I wasn't convicted. Here's the actual situation. The case was dismissed, and here's the paperwork. That would be an example of new material information they may not have. But again, you'd have to know why. Here's what you do. All right. Now, remember, this only applies to refugee applications outside the U.S. So in this case, would be the South Africans in South Africa. If you're inside the U.S. and you're doing asylum, it doesn't have anything to do with you. All right. So you request for review. An RFR is not a formal process, but just a request for the original officer or supervisor to review the decision that denied you. In order for this to be accepted, the request must clearly identify the specific error made or provide new evidence that was not available during the initial interview. Okay? So you would have to know the reason why. You follow my logic here? You can't request for review if you don't know why you were denied. You have 90 days from the time of denial. So if you get called, which a couple people claim, they said they've been called and denied, which doesn't make any sense to me. An agent said you've been denied and didn't send them an email or a letter. If that happens, if you get a phone call and you're being told you're denied, you ask right then and there, what is the basis for it so that I can submit updated information because I believe you made a mistake. Right then and there. And whom do I send it to and how do I get it to them? Do not let them get off the phone with that information. If your request for review is denied, you're done. You have no further avenue of appeal for refugee status in the United States. Now, some folks would always suggest you get an attorney to help you with this should you be denied. Most people don't have the kind of money that's necessary to pay an attorney, and you don't have many attorneys in South Africa. I imagine they have the expertise to handle it, so I'm not sure what advice to give you on that. But I am sure to tell you this. If you are denied refugee status, you pretty much damn well know why you're denied. I mean, reading this stuff I'm getting from a handful of people who claim they've been denied or don't understand why their security checks are being reviewed again, then after multiple emails, it starts leaking out from them because either they're ashamed or they're unwilling to tell the truth because they're living in denial why they're not able to come over. But they know full well they're wasting their time and my time. Just be honest with yourself and deal with the case, all right? Some people have been accused of serious crimes, even convicted of serious crimes, were innocent and were railroaded, and they're still eligible for refugee cases to come over. But there's too many people that are spreading all kinds of manure around. There's no appeal process. You can do a request for review, but you can't do that unless you know the basis for the denial so that you can submit the updated, corrected information to fix the error. Does that make sense? I hope so, because the number of people that are writing about this is really disturbing. Again, I'm not getting all of this direct. Some people are writing me directly, others it's anecdotal. But you can expect more and more cases to occur where people claim that they've been denied. As thousands more people are processed, more people will have done something in their past that makes them ineligible. You will be ineligible if you've committed a serious crime. You will be ineligible if you've lied, if you've misled. If you did something in your past and you failed to disclose it and they discover it, then you're a liar in their eyes and you will not come over. No one is entitled to refugee status. This is not a right. It's a privilege, one conferred on eligible people, in theory. In the past 4 years before Trump, we conferred on anybody that asked for it, and look at the mess we've got in America. So you can understand why they're being so judicious about your background, your truthfulness, and your eligibility for the program. And I'm sorry if people who live in Namibia or in Malawi or in Egypt or Vietnam or China feel it's unfair. It's not unfair. You have no right to the program. The program is clearly established. You should never have got your hopes up or desire to get into the program without reading who's eligible for it. It wasn't for South Africans. It was for South African, Afrikaners, or racial minorities living in South Africa who are suffering from unjust racial persecution. That's what it was for. If you don't meet those criteria, you're not eligible. It's as simple as that. Now, if that hurts your feelings, then I can't help you. I'm not a shoulder to cry on. I'm just a person to tell you the truth. Is that harsh? I don't think so. I think it's just being honest. Is it fair? This isn't about being fair. It's not about being fair. If it were fair, the ANC wouldn't be governing South Africa and destroying it. If life were fair, we wouldn't have idiots dancing in the streets attacking law enforcement officers who are trying to perform their official duties in accordance with the law. If life were fair, children would be starving. We wouldn't be attacked by viruses and bacteria, and life would be grand. But it's not. Life is unfair. Sorry, that's the way it is. I oftentimes feel things are unfair to me, but if I can't do anything about it, I can't do anything about it. And that's the case here. You must meet the criteria. You must be in South Africa in order to be a refugee. It's as simple as that. And if you've done something and you don't disclose it, then you shouldn't be surprised if you're denied. If you've done something and it was serious, you shouldn't sit here and pretend to me and try to tell me, do you think I have some sort of input and influence to override the derogatory information that they've discovered about you? No. Even if I was head of the program for USCIS, I could not override the decision of an adjudicator who made a decision based on derogatory information about you. Wouldn't have that ability. They're independent. They make those decisions. They have oversight, but they don't have interference from their bosses so that it doesn't become a nepotism program or patronage program. I hope you understand, and I wish you all the very best. God bless.